Hey, yo, it's Monday. I just got back from New Braunfels. I was floating on the Comal, doing my thing. Didn't get a sunburn. I don't know how I avoided it. But, you know, the river was nice and cold. The air was nice and hot. Had a good little mix going there. Got some beer. Little Crown and Coke in. You know, weirdly, I've become, like, more of a fan of Crown and Coke, and I don't... Like, it's been my dad's drink for forever. And recently, I was just like, I don't know, I always hated it, and now I'm starting to come around to it. I feel like, over time, I'm just becoming my father. Slowly but surely, I just become my dad. What's up, guys? What's up, Cleo? Noob? Brady? Did I say Raptor? Raptor! It stems a lot from the internal argument with myself. There's elements of Tarkov that are reminiscent of Fortnite. As such, I feel it's right to give it a shot. Look. Tarkov's not for everybody. Okay? But if you end up playing Tarkov, your boy's right here. Okay? I'll teach you the ropes. Alright? It's my favorite game of all time. Right now. You know? So, what's up, Dark? How you doing? Today we're going to talk about the fact that the FBI seems to be, in my honest opinion, I think it wants to be the new CNN. I swear to you guys. If CNN could arrest people, I would not be able to identify a difference between them and the FBI. At least the CNN of old. It looks like CNN is starting to transform. I mean, they're getting pretty serious. Apparently, did y'all see? I think I told y'all this last stream. Like, Warner Brothers started laying off a whole bunch of people from HBO Max. Like, execs, and the executives were just like, yeah, well, they're trying to kill off all this diversity and social justice focus and focus on middle America. So apparently, Warner Brothers is going in, like, all in on pushing out woke culture, which means CNN is about to transform big time from being a Democrat wing, like a propaganda wing of the Democrat Party, and become an actual news source, or at least try to. We'll see how that goes. I'll believe when I see it. But, I mean, if you really break down what we just learned about the FBI, I mean, I don't know what the difference between them and CNN is. You know, it's kind of crazy. For those of you who don't know what happened, last week and over the weekend, some stuff kind of rolled out that proved that the FBI was kind of responsible for one of the reasons that social media cracked down on the Hunter Biden laptop story so quickly. We're going to get into that. We're also going to talk about some of the backlash that is going on to the White House saying that it's going to pay off some of the student loans, including this amazing ad, and more. In the meantime, guys, welcome to Red State Live. Thank you so much for showing up. You guys are the best. All I can say is that they are no longer trusted to inspect my boobs anymore. Mine neither, man. You know, I don't trust them anymore. Present and accounted for, working and lurking. So we got Brady playing Stellaris, John working. And see, this is the kind of dedication that I like, folks. You know, you're doing something, that's true. You're doing something else, but you also got the stream on in the background. That's what I'm talking about. That's what we need right there. And God bless you, lurkers. By the way, you're not talking, but you don't have to talk. I feel your love anyway. FBI needs a reset. Bro, FBI needs more than a reset, if you ask me. I'm slowly transforming into Ron Paul over here about it. Just be like, just get rid of it. It's the FBI is just meant to, like, investigate the people, the American people. Like, it should be, honest to God, I really do feel like many of the institutions and agencies that we have on the federal level could just be destroyed, and we could just make it into state level stuff. Like, I would much rather trust a Texas Bureau of Investigation, you know, than a federal Bureau of Investigation. I don't think that we need, you know, and here's the other thing. I think that they should be individually elected as well. No bureaucrats can run it, right? No unelected officials can run it. They have to be elected by the people, like a sheriff. Like a sheriff. I think that's the way it should be. Department of Education, get rid of it. Why do we have a federal Department of Education? We don't need it. It needs to be a state-level agency, period. The federal government has no business telling individual states what to do with their education system. None. All right? Federal-level agencies have to go. We could rebuild. I mean, if you want to talk about an agency that needs a serious reset, the IRS gotta go, man. The way it is right now, it's overly complicated. It's too powerful. It's only going to get way more powerful than it actually needs to be. Reset. Absolute reset. Our IRS is so bad that, I mean, like, if billionaires are taking their money to other places because it's safer there, you know, then we have an issue. I'm resting, kind of boys are down for the afternoon nap, and I'm just tired, bro. Same. Absolutely. I got back from floating the Comal. It was like a day trip, and from Dallas to New Braunfels is about a 4 to 5 hour trip. You know, I have a pregnant wife, so my pregnant wife obviously needs to stop from time to time. She was actually not too bad, but yeah, it was just I got there. And I went to bed at 9:30. I was so tired. Next day, got up, went to the river, floated in the pool and stuff like that. It was good. Drank a bit, got to see family members. Went to bed at around midnight. And then got back in the car that morning after cleaning up camp a little bit. And then just drove all the way back home. By the time I got home, I was dead. But I was still doing stuff. I slept so hard last night, I can't even remember when I went to sleep. FBI should be the first to be disbanded, and states can do the job if needed. Cleo and I are in the right. Yeah, you are right there with me, Cleo. Amen. Same for the NSA. You don't hear about them or the CIA anymore. Yeah, I can see the purpose of a CIA, but I feel like the CIA needs to be turned outward, not inward. The NSA, get rid of it. Get rid of the NSA. It's not necessary. I feel like the NSA and the CIA are I don't know what the difference between them is. I feel like the CIA and the NSA do the exact same job, if I'm not mistaken. And maybe, I could be very wrong, but I thought the CIA was supposed to protect the United States of America from external threats via intelligence. And that's what the NSA claims it does. Only it spies on American people. So get rid of it. It's done. Get it out of here. We don't need it. The IRS cannot even audit itself. They shredded 20 million paperback log returns. Have you seen their library? Boxes and boxes. That does not surprise me. Yeah, the IRS needs to be turned over, shaken out, and just revamped, man. There's got to be... It is honestly, it could possibly be the most dangerous of all the federal agencies. Excuse me, I'm tripping over my own tongue over here. I can think of 3 things the federal government can do, and guess what? They ain't doing it. Because whenever you have a federal government that is more concerned about maintaining its own power, of course it's not going to do the things it's supposed to do. It's going to do the things that it takes to make itself more powerful. I mean, absolute power corrupts absolutely. Anything in DC that is by appointment needs to go. I can understand the purpose of a Supreme Court, and that's by appointment, but I just have a really hard time with the fact that we have so many I don't know if y'all remember, y'all are going to remember this, but they're so cocky with their unelected officials that they actually started to develop a ministry of truth featuring a woman who is about a fry short of a Happy Meal. Like a woman who absolutely loves the idea. I just imagine that she fantasizes in non-Christian ways about being powerful and having power over people. Just listening to her talk was scary. Anything, or who polices the police? You know, Amtru? Exactly. This is why I think we have got to start an election process, especially for law enforcement individuals on super high levels. You know, I think there's a reason that sheriff's offices are typically less corrupt than, you know, police forces. You know, like city police forces. It just... There's something to be said about elections. Free and fair elections. Pregnant birthing person. What's up, Stripe? NSA has some cool satellites, though. They really do. I know nothing about their satellites, but I probably should, you know, since they're using them to spy on me. These government agencies are just redundant at this point. Isn't it like the perfect representation of bureaucracy right there? Just a bunch of redundant agencies, jobs, and people wasting money, hardly getting anything done, except for all the wrong things that are getting done. How many government agencies do we need to investigate me? Apparently all of them. We elect sheriffs, yeah. The accountability to the citizens usually, yeah. That's why I like sheriff's offices. She's only got one fry, and that was a little tip that gets stuck in the corner of the paper fry holder. The one that falls, it's the fry that falls into the seats between, you know, while you're in the car, and that little piece of fry like gathers all that dust and lint and hair. You know, by the time you actually finally find it when you're doing a deep clean of your car, you hardly recognize it as a piece of fry. It's just like some like crumb of nasty looking food surrounded by hair and debris. That's what she was. That's what she was. Ladies and gentlemen, please go to redstate.com. Everything I'm about to talk about is at redstate.com right now. By the way, guys, by the way, we have a lot of fun on stream, but now it's time to get serious. Folks, we need to have a chat. The VIP program for Red State is very important to Red State. Not just Red State, but the entire Town Hall Media family. The reason being is because, and I can't get too far into it because, you know, business practices prohibit me from doing so, but I can say that we are under a lot of scrutiny. We are under a lot of attack. And you would be very surprised at who has the power to suddenly switch off our ability to make money. That's all I'm going to say about that. But this is why the VIP program is so important. At redstate.com, you can sign up for the VIP program. It's super cheap, about $5 a month. Use promo code Morse, MRSE, gets you a discount. Just every sign up makes us a little bit more immune to big tech, to, you know, these blue check, self-important people who think that just because we disagree with them or we're telling the truth, that they should have the right to be able to shut us down and silence us and censor us at every turn. We would rather not be censored. I'm sure you would rather us not be censored too. So if you could do us a huge favor, go to redstate.com right now, sign up for the VIP program, promo code Morse. It's super cheap. And you will get access to a lot of really great stuff that people just perusing the front page won't get access to. I write at least one VIP post a day, except for Saturdays and Sundays. And you're also going to get like podcasts and really great authors in the background. Andrew Malcolm has a podcast on the VIP side, and I got to tell you guys, it's like listening to him is like pulling up a warm blanket over you on a winter days, you know, wintry, cold, snowy day next to a fireplace and listening to your grandpa talk to you. All right, that's how good he is. Seriously. So sign up for the VIP program, guys. It really helps us out. And thank you for all of those of you who have already done it. You guys are awesome. You guys are helping us fight the good fight. And that's that. Thank you guys so much for allowing me to talk to you guys about something very important. Thank you for the VIP plug, Red. You're making me hungry. I actually kind of made myself a little hungry. I want Chick-fil-A fries, now the waffle fries. Go to redstate.com. Everything I'm about to talk about at redstate.com. It's there. Everything we're about to talk about. Also, press like on the stream. I'm tripping over my tongue today. I don't know why. It's like I'm trying to say one thing and my brain wants me to say another. It's really strange. You can follow along with me at redstate.com. Yes, please like the stream. Smash that like button. If you haven't already subscribed, hit that subscribe button. It really helps us out with the algorithm. YouTube likes a good liked video. And you guys have, by the way, have been killing it lately. Big time killing it. And getting our algorithm, getting the algorithm to help support us. Our stream is growing. Chat, you're to blame for that. Thank you guys so much for all the likes, the views, the shares, the comments. Every time I come back, there's a new comment lately, and it warms the cockles of my heart. That's what that does. So, let's dive into this. FBI only makes itself look worse when it defends itself against Mark Zuckerberg's Hunter laptop claims. This is from ya boy. I don't know if you guys caught up with this, but Mark Zuckerberg appeared on the Joe Rogan podcast where everything good seems to happen nowadays. I swear to you, if it wasn't for the Joe Rogan podcast, we would not have like huge news anymore. People admit stuff on his podcast. And it's just, it's fascinating to watch. I'm pretty sure that Joe Rogan's not done. Something's going to happen on his show that really blows the lid off of the entire Democrat complex one day. I'm like 100% of it. But anyway, Facebook CEO Mark Zuckerberg sat down. And the lizard man decided to talk about, or open up a little bit about the Hunter Biden laptop story. You'll remember back then when the Hunter Biden laptop story broke, social media went to town pretty much immediately. They've never acted so quickly to make sure that the Hunter Biden laptop story could not actually get circulated. It started a Barbra Streisand effect, a Streisand effect, if you will. For those of you who don't know what a Streisand effect is, what happens whenever you try to hide something, and the curiosity of you hiding it and incited in people makes them go look for it. So the Hunter Biden laptop story broke. I can remember Twitter completely banned the New York Post from posting it. I believe they got suspended for a little bit. Facebook openly, now they're admitting to it, started to censor stories about it and posts about it. Jack Dorsey now admits that doing so was a mistake. He shouldn't have done that, but you know, while hindsight is 2020, he shouldn't have done that in the first place. He should have just let the news roll and let people figure it out, whether or not it was fake or whether it was real. They just kind of made that judgment call pretty much immediately. It was nonsense. And you know it's nonsense because, I mean, you know, they talked about how it might be a threat to not just our democracy, but it might be a threat to someone in particular, namely Hunter Biden. But, you know, Antifa can apparently, or even just leftist groups that are, they border on violent, if they aren't all violent altogether, can actually post the home address of a sitting lawmaker, damn near encourage violence, and Twitter won't do a damn thing like for a long time. Despite the fact that they're warned and the fact they're notified and all that stuff. They don't care. But this, they were fast on it. Well, now it turns out, according to Mark Zuckerberg, that Facebook, Twitter, and everyone else was approached by the FBI before the story broke. Mark Zuckerberg straight up admitted that the FBI had a hand in it. Let's dive into this. The FBI is in the midst of some damage control after Facebook CEO Mark Zuckerberg revealed that the FBI had warned his company of some incoming misinformation right before the Hunter Biden laptop story broke. Appearing on the Joe Rogan Experience, Zuckerberg revealed to host Joe Rogan that his social media platform definitely censored the Hunter Biden laptop story since his leftist fact-checkers were always on the hunt to suppress political misinformation. Facebook and many other social media platforms were speedy in hiding the Hunter story. Maybe a bit too speedy. According to Zuck, It's because the FBI contacted them before it broke about some fake news that would be making the rounds.
How do you guys handle things when they're a big news item? Commercial. Like there was a lot of attention on Twitter during the election because of the Hunter Biden laptop story. The New York Post.
Yeah, we have that too.
Yeah, so you guys censored that as well?
So we took a different path than Twitter. I mean, basically, the background here is the FBI, I think, basically came to us, some folks on our team, and was like, hey, just so you know, like, you should be on high alert. We thought that there was a lot of Russian propaganda in the 2016 election. We have it on notice that basically there's about to be some kind of dump of that's similar to that. So just be vigilant. So our protocol is different from Twitter's. What Twitter did is they said you can't share this at all. We didn't do that. What we do is we have, if something is reported to us as potentially misinformation, important misinformation, we also have this third-party fact-checking program because we don't want to be deciding what's true and false. And
I take issue with that. I take issue with that whole thing. We don't want to decide what's true or false. So we go to third-party fact checkers. The thing is that they choose what third-party fact checkers they go to. And you know for a fact that these third-party fact checkers are leftist. What Facebook and Mark Zuckerberg are doing right now are basically shoving the blame off of them if anything happens. It's like, well, the fact checkers told us that this is what was going on, so don't blame Facebook, don't blame Mark Zuckerberg. Okay, but you choose the fact checkers, and you choose them carefully. These aren't like a mix of people, of ideologies. These are monogamous in terms of, not monogamous. These are homogenous in terms of thought and groupthink. Okay? They are leftist. They know they're leftist. That's who they trust. So this is Facebook trying to just shove the blame off while still being able to get their way. They can still have their leftist slant, still have their leftist censorship. But now, and when someone comes to them and says, well, this is really unfair. How come you said that what I said was fake? And they say, oh, we're not saying that. They said that, so that we were just going off of what they told us. It's a weasel move.
For the, I think it was 5 or 7 days when it was basically being determined whether it was false. The distribution on Facebook was decreased, but people were still allowed to share it. So you could still share it, you could still consume it.
So when you say the distribution is decreased,
it got shared.
How does that work?
It basically, the ranking in newsfeed was a little bit less. So fewer people saw it than would have otherwise. So it definitely.
By what percentage?
I don't know off the top of my head, but it's meaningful.
I'm actually surprised that he's admitting this. He's basically saying, my bad. We did suppress it, and we made sure that quite a few people didn't get to see it. It was meaningful. I don't know if I believe him that he doesn't know off the top of his head. It was one of the largest stories. It was one of the largest stories of the time. I'm willing to bet that he knows the metrics, but he just doesn't want to go off and say. He still has to protect his company, but he can say it's meaningful, meaning he's seen the number before. He knows.
But I mean, basically, a lot of people were still able to share it. We got a lot of complaints that was the case. Obviously this is a hyper political issue. So
sorry, I don't mean to be a pause, Andy. I hate the fact that they strike this attitude. Oh, but people were still able to share it. So what? So what? If they can still share it, but nobody sees it, what does it matter? You might as well have done what Twitter did and completely suppressed it. Made sure that nobody could share it. It's the one thing that Facebook does. Like I will say this. Twitter will outright go and ban someone. They'll outright suppress a story. They make sure that like the measure that they take is pretty bombastic. Whereas Facebook is so weaselly about it. Like, oh well, you could still share it. We don't want to be the people to tell you what is and isn't real. But what does it matter if you're turning down the volume on someone to the point where no one can hear them? Not to say that Twitter doesn't do that. They absolutely do. I know for a fact. Myself, Dana Lash, Ken Webster, a lot of us have noticed that when Elon Musk announced that he was pretty much the owner of Twitter at this point in time, pending a few investigations, they stopped for a minute with the censorship, and my Twitter account went gangbusters. Now, I'm back to hardly having anyone see my tweets. I have noticed that people who are following me don't follow me anymore after like an hour. I've had so many followers follow me, but for some reason, my follower count never changes. Weird, huh? But Facebook is so weaselly about it. I think that Mark Zuckerberg is himself. I mean, we all kind of knew he was. People say that he's half lizard. I don't know. I think he's half weasel. That's what I think.
Obviously, this is a hyper-political issue, so depending on what side of the political spectrum, you either think we didn't censor it enough or censored it way too much, but we weren't sort of as black and white about it as Twitter. We just kind of thought, hey, look, if the FBI, which I still view as a legitimate institution in this country, it's like very professional law enforcement.
Oh,
they
is
come
it?
to us and tell us that we need to be on guard about something, then I want to take that seriously.
Did they specifically say you need to be on guard about that story?
No, I don't remember if it was that specifically, but it basically fit the pattern.
I don't know if I believe that. I don't know if I believe that at all. If you were to ask me, I would say that the FBI called it out because across the board, the social media giants knew what was going on and shut it down immediately. I guess if it's that high profile, maybe, but I don't know. The FBI definitely knew what it was. There's no possible way they didn't. The FBI is now also quickly coming to its own defense, claiming that warning social media websites about incoming information is nothing new. NBC News reported that the FBI said it can't ask these companies to take direct action, but that it can warn them of a potential threat. This is from NBC News. In a statement Friday night, the FBI said it has provided companies with, quote, foreign threat indicators to help protect their platform and customers, but that it, quote, cannot ask or direct companies to take action on information received. The FBI routinely notifies U.S. private sector entities, including social media providers, of potential threat information so that they can decide how to better defend against threats, the agency said. This doesn't exactly make them look any better. In fact, if they warned Facebook that the Hunter laptop story was incoming misinformation when it was absolutely true, and they just admitted they warn these platforms on a regular basis, then this tells me that they're serial offenders of news suppression. They know their influence will affect how a company operates, and they're openly abusing it in order to try to manipulate the news cycle to the administration's benefit. Even if they didn't know exactly that the story that was breaking was the Hunter Biden laptop story, then attempting to manipulate social media as a just-in-case measure is still manipulation, just in the blind. If the FBI was hoping to make itself an innocent party here, they've done the opposite. They'll put a lot of time and effort into trying to find anything to desperately make Trump guilty of a charge the government clearly wasn't that concerned about previously. But in all their digging, they didn't realize a laptop full of incriminating evidence that belonged to Hunter Biden was on the lam. They just heard rumors of incoming misinformation and decided to warn social media companies right before it came out. I'm not buying it, and neither should you. The far more plausible story is that they knew it was the laptop and attempted to use their influence as a government law enforcement arm to manipulate social media companies into suppressing or even banning the information. They work so hard to try to uncover things about their enemies. And by their enemies, I mean the Democrat Party's enemies. They work so hard to try to find anything, doesn't matter. They will make themselves wildly unpopular by raiding Mar-a-Lago, the home of a sitting president, for stuff that they didn't even knew or at least weren't concerned about. Up until, a few months. And then they issued a search warrant and didn't execute it for days. That's how intensely they focus on that. But Hunter Biden's laptop is in the wild somewhere. Did they not think to try to track that down? Only when something was coming out that it was about to break did they actually start to, move in action? You're going to tell me that they're not that concerned about the Democrat Party's fortunes? That they're not going to go to Facebook and Twitter and all these social media giants with direct knowledge of what it is? I don't believe that. This also tells us the most important part of the story. The most important part of this story is the fact that the FBI is clearly working in favor of the Democrat Party. Between the raid in Mar-a-Lago and the fact that they tried to warn social media about the incoming laptop story in order to get them to suppress that information as much as possible, tells us that they are directly working for the Democrats. Obviously, we don't have direct admissions of this, but all the clues point to that. The Justice Department is definitely weaponized. It's definitely weaponized. We know that. So not only does the FBI try to enforce the Democrat Party's agenda, they're now working as a propaganda group as well. They want to make sure that the Democrat Party does not look bad in any regard. So they're going to move in front of various things such as the Hunter Biden laptop story in order to make sure that the highest ranking Democrat right now, at least in name, and his family don't go down for something that is probably very, very illegal. At the very least, insanely corrupt. Something that, if this was Trump and his family, there would be no rest. Not only would the FBI, the CIA, all these agencies be getting involved in order to try to bring down Trump and expose the truth, because that's what they do. They're so good, they try to expose the truth. They want to make sure that this nation stays safe, and that means going after a man who abused his power, Donald Trump. They would not rest. Every working speaker, every working screen would be covering it non-freaking stop. But now, we actually do have some very, very, very strong evidence of some insane law-breaking going on. Only the person who is doing it has a D next to his name. Weaponized. Absolutely weaponized. Whatever happened to Elon buying Twitter? It's still happening. I think he was playing 4D chess, trying to get them to admit how much of the platform was bots at this point. And he kind of forced them to expose themselves. I don't get a notification of your tweets until half a day or so after you post it. Twitter, man. I've heard this suck described as a robot too, kind of like Musk as well. Maybe we're just being taken over by aliens, you know? That's what it is. It's all they're sending human-like robots. They're like hosts from Westworld. They come here, you know? They're programmed to manipulate the system, build these wild technologies. He is being sued by Twitter to finish buying Twitter. Elon will get a discount. Yep. Ended up owning Twitter. I think at the end of the day, it was him trying to reduce the price, which is fair. He shouldn't be buying a platform that is, I don't know, like a huge chunk of it is bots. I don't blame him for that. No intimidation at all or coercion. The FBI. No, not no. They're perfect little angels. FBI building in D.C. has now put up a fence around it. Has it really? Has it actually done that? FBI fence. Oh, gosh dang it. I'll fix it next time. Person attempted to scale security fencing through rocks at FBI office in Chicago. People are so mad they're throwing rocks at the FBI building. You said the one in D.C. I'll have to look that up later. They already had Hunter's laptop and knew it was Hunter's. Gosh, now everyone has a copy of Hunter Biden's laptop. Matt Gaetz he showed up to the Student Action Summit in Florida. And while he was giving his speech, he pulled out a hard drive and he was like, "I've got it ready." Because suddenly, like, they had misplaced his laptop. They didn't know where it was, but he's like, "It's all right. I've got a copy." Trump wasn't the sitting president when the raid happened. Oh, I'm sorry. Did I say sitting president? Why do I do dumb stuff, chat? Why do I do dumb stuff? Can y'all stop me next time? Okay, off topic. I need chauffeur's hat to wear when I fly. Why? I'm going to need an explanation for that. We can't tell you to censor, but wink, wink, here's an offer you can't refuse. Exactly. Like the FBI doesn't know. It's like, look. We can't order you to do it. But if you don't do it, I see some trouble happening for you in the future. That's all I'm going to say. Huh? Would be a shame if suddenly you got audited or, I don't know, you had to appear in front of a hearing again and have your nonsense exposed. Why hasn't McConnell spoken out about Brandon admin law enforcement campaign against Trump? Because McConnell is a establishment Republican whose main goal is to benefit McConnell. We talked about that just the other day. It's McConnell's got to go. It's easier said than done, but he's got to go. Just tell me why Hunter is living in a mansion with Secret Service and not in jail. Because he's a Democrat. That's why. Democrats don't live by the same rules that we do, guys. Come on. It's a two-tier justice system. Stop asking questions, peasants. Okay? Just obey your lords. When an agency puts up a fence, I know they're afraid because of many people have caught on to them. You're probably not wrong. Is it fair to call out the Republicans who voted to confirm Garland as AG? Yes, it's absolutely fair to. This is severe. This is what I'm talking about. I'm going to repeat this until 2024 and well beyond. We've got to stop electing Republicans that are like willing to just work with these, because Democrats right now aren't the Democrats of old. This isn't the, hey, we need to come to the center and you know, come up with what's an idea that's best for the nation. No, these are hardcore, radical, agenda-driven, narrative-driven, hard leftists. That's what they are now. You need Republicans who are willing to go to war with these people. Again, we don't need policy makers. We need policy unmakers. People who will go in and eliminate these agencies where these snakes like to nest. We need to reduce the power of the federal government, like, by at least 75%. It's too powerful. It's too big. It's too big for its own britches. And I can guarantee you that if nothing happens, there will be disastrous results for the United States of America. Disastrous. I'm talking blood. Severe, yes, please. Send it to my Twitter, @TheBrandonMorse. Chris Wray was appointed by Trump. No one is perfect. Of course, no one's perfect. You know, Steve Mnuchin's not perfect either. You want to talk a guy who had had one foot in the private sector. You know, no one's perfect. A list of who wanted them on the Supreme Court would be good. Yeah. Blunt, Burr, Capito, Cassidy, Collins, Cornyn. Gosh, Cornyn's got to go, man. I'm so tired of that guy. Ernst, Graham, Grassley, Inhofe, Lankford, McConnell, Moron, KS, Murkowski, Portman, Romney, Rounds, Thune, Tillis. Let's go, Brandon. I don't hear that much anymore. Me either. It was kind of my heyday. Can anyone tell me anything good anyone on that list has done? Grassley and not really. Look, as a Texan, I got to tell you, I am not a fan of Cornyn. If he gets voted out next round, I will be by a Republican, not a Democrat. I will be very pleased. Gates is awesome. Make a great speaker rather than MTG in charge of. I think he would make a great speaker. But can you guys imagine Marjorie Taylor Greene as House Speaker? I would tune in to watch C-SPAN all the time. Good quick list of the worst GOP senators for the most part. Thank you, Severe. Thank you. The more you know. Da-na-na-na. If I could, Minority Report what you say, I would warn you. That's true, Dark. Thank you. Either way to ID them and senators who voted for McConnell for chips, infrastructure, and guns. About 17 Republicans. We need to spread that list everywhere is what needs to happen. That list needs to be spread around. And people need to start really coming down. Here's the thing. Like I said, it's easier said than done is the issue. Because I'll be honest with you, Mitch McConnell, being the leader of the Republicans in the Senate, has so many friends in high places. He has PACs that are pretty much attached to his hip. You have a lot of conservatives that are getting elected who talk a big game, but at the end of the day, they have to go to McConnell to get that super PAC money. That's one of the biggest issues. So next thing you know, they become a McConnell goon. And it's the problem doesn't get any better. The money in Washington really infects far and wide. And McConnell is one of those people who is spreading that infection. And I feel over the course of, especially after Trump, over the course of time, McConnell has become almost a quiet never-Trumper at this point. And when I say quiet, I mean, I know he's said things and done, but he's not like, out there and super bombastic about it. But here's the thing about the never Trumpers here's the thing about Trump culture. Let's say that Trump culture, it has overtaken the Republican Party. It has. I actually kind of don't like calling it Trump culture even. Like, this influence that Trump has had. I don't even like to just, because I'm afraid that like once Trump disappears, people might say, well, it's the age of Trump is over. Guess we better, find a new way. No, this is a good way to do things. The Republican Party going on the offensive for the first time in forever is a great way to go about doing things. It absolutely needs to maintain, okay? We have to keep going on the offensive. No more reactionaryism. That we got to get rid of that. We got to go after these people. We have to elect warriors, okay? But the issue is that you have people like McConnell who are old school politicians who have become barnacles to the system. They have a standard way of doing things because it gives them power and makes them money. And McConnell is one of the most corrupt. He is super corrupt. I mean, his wife is so attached to China. Because I don't know if you guys knew this, but his wife is actually, her family owns one of the largest shipping companies in China. And when Mitch McConnell, he obviously feeds them influence. And when Mitch McConnell's wife was made transportation secretary, that company in China blew up. I mean, they got bigger. You might not know about that, but it's true. That happened. So he's corrupt, man, and he's under the influence of China, 100%. He's got to go. He's got to go. But in order to get him gone, you first have to detach the money that he has, the influence on all that money. Brandon, I only seem to get to go flying when I have to take wifey someplace. The reason I just saw on TV. Do you want to fly somewhere? I would love to fly. Number one, infrastructure. 2, guns. 3, chips. McConnell couldn't even convince a majority of GOP senators to back him. He's outlived his time. He's done. He's not going to retire. That's the thing. Like, Joe Cunningham, my buddy, said it well. He's a writer here at Red State as well. You know, McConnell is in a position right now where his time is done when he says it is. And I have a feeling that this dude is going to take his time in office to the grave. Some of these people at confirmations just flat out lie. I mean, you're not wrong. You can't even identify what a woman is because you're not a biologist? Come on. There was a good article on Twitchy showing a Twitter thread outlining what the Republican agenda should be. Anyone seen it? No, but if anyone finds it, tweet it to me and tell me you tweeted it to me. Our new SCOTUS appointee cannot even define the word woman. Yeah, exactly. I agree with Brandon. There is no chance McConnell will be removed as leader. That doesn't mean conservatives shouldn't call him out. Oh, absolutely. As far as I'm concerned, one of the ways that we can influence his early departure is to continue to point the finger at him and call him out left and right, left and right, left and right. Make it so hard for him to get any traction that at some point in time he goes, this is too difficult. I'm leaving. The current answer to our government problem is incumbents. No more incumbents. Exactly. MTG and few whammon. MTG and few others always will. More getting on board. Yeah, I like it. I like it. They're gaining more popularity and more power, and I'm all for it. I'm all for it. I mean, there's getting to a point now where they're trying to SWAT MTG, right? But like I wrote the other day, like if you continue to do that to somebody who really has that level of fire and willing to go to war, like MTG is, you're only going to assist her. You're only making her case for her and making her more powerful. So yeah, continue to try to SWAT these people. Yeah, I mean, that's not an endorsement, YouTube. But if you continue to try to, they're just going to get better. They're going to get more powerful. You know, like MTG said, she's like, you know what I'm going to do next time this happens? I'm going to have pizza delivered, and me and the police are all going to sit down and have a slice. That's what we're going to do. So you just turned it into an impromptu, like, political discussion and hangout. Congratulations. So old Mitch is compromised. Never knew that. Oh, he's super compromised. Super compromised. You think Eric Swalwell is bad? Eric Swalwell just had like he slept with a Chinese spy. That's 100% true. Mitch McConnell climbs into bed every night with a woman who is heavily attached to the Chinese government. Peter Schweizer covered McConnell's connections to China in a book. I'm going to have to read that. Or audiobook it. I'm about to go on a long trip. Mitch McConnell, the president of the Turtle Club. If they take away the policy of not charging insider trading for members of Congress, a lot of the money corruption would stop. Cleo is correct. That's got to stop. That's got to stop, man. The SWAT teams will start calling in threats just to have a pizza party with TG. We heard there was a trans person threatening a murder-suicide, so we came right over. With pepperoni lovers and stuffed crust. Not working out, by the way. According to a poll, a massive number of Americans think cover-up about the laptop changed the election. Okay, so not only did the FBI fail to stop... My dog is pissed off. Can y'all hear that? Not only is the FBI... did they fail to stop the Hunter Biden laptop news from getting out, now people are starting to wonder, starting to think a little bit about it. They're starting to think that maybe if the Hunter Biden laptop thing wasn't so suppressed, that maybe things would be a little different in this country right now. We wouldn't have this high inflation. Border would be a lot more secure. Crime would be a lot further down and stuff. Russia might not even be at war with Ukraine. Who knows? This is from Nicarama. There's a new poll out in the wake of some of the concerning allegations about the FBI regarding the Hunter Biden laptop. Now, a massive number of Americans, 79%, believe that President Donald Trump would have been elected if the people had known the truth about the Hunter Biden laptop. The survey of 1,335 adults was conducted earlier this month by the New Jersey-based Technometrica Institute of Policy and Politics. The vast majority of those following the issue said that they believe that the laptop is real, while only 11% still believe it was Russian disinformation. In addition to the report about the FBI squashing the case, until after the election, the FBI also went to Facebook and told them that there was going to be a Russian information dump, and that was why Facebook suppressed the laptop story. That was in addition to Twitter suppressing the New York Post story about the laptop in October of 2020, even preventing people from sharing the URL on the platform before the election. I'm sorry. Oh, no, I got that right. Then my eyes did like a what? Then there was also the letter from the 51 former intelligence officials who claimed without any evidence that the laptop was likely Russian disinformation. Joe Biden relied on that letter during the debates right before the election to dismiss the concern that the laptop, about the laptop when he likely knew it was real. Listen at about 9:15 on the video.
That's to do with Pat to sit
they're calling you a corrupt politician.
Nobody.
President Trump, I want to stay on the issue of race. We're talking about the issue.
From hell.
President Trump, we're talking about race right now, and I do want to stay on the issue of race. President Trump,
I have to respond to that.
Please,
because look,
very quickly.
there are 50 former.
We don't want to talk about that. Okay, but I want to talk about it. Okay, go.
National intelligence folks who said that what he's accusing me of is a Russian plan. They have said that has all the 5 former heads of the CIA, both parties, say what he's saying is a bunch of garbage. Nobody believes it except his and his good friend Rudy Giuliani.
You mean the laptop is now another Russia hoax?
That's exactly what.
Is this
that's
where you're
exactly
going?
what.
This is
told.
where he's going. The laptop is Russia,
Yes.
Gentlemen,
Russia.
I want to stay on the issue of race.
You
okay?
have to be kidding. Here we
Mr.
go.
Trump knew. He was like, you guys are so full of it, man. That's real. Come on. Almost 3/4 of Americans following the issue, 74%, believe that the FBI and the intel community deliberately misled voters. 74% believe that. That is such bad news for the FBI. Can you imagine 74% of America going, dude, the FBI is freaking corrupt, man. And it is helping out the Democrat Party. They purposely suppressed this to make us vote for Joe Biden. Dude, the amount of people who would be bitter about the fact that they got lied to by the FBI in order to influence them to vote a certain way in an election. Do you think that they would go back and trust the FBI after that? No way. No way. You would have to have your head so firmly planted up your own ass in favor of the Democrats in order to still go, oh, that's okay. That's okay. Terming the laptop disinformation by the FBI, intelligence community, Congress, and the Biden campaign, along with big tech, impacted voters, said Technometrica President Raghavan Mayur, excuse me for butchering that, who's been recognized as the most accurate pollster in recent presidential elections. A significant majority, 78%, believe that access to the correct information could have been critical to their decision at the polls. Bruh. That's 78% of people who realize now that they actively lied to us. The FBI, the media actively lied to us, suppressed a story in order to get us to vote for their guy. If we had known, we never would have pulled the lever for Biden. If we had known, but we didn't know. Dude, you have the FBI, mainstream media, y'all have ruined yourselves. You stabbed everyone in the back for a vote. You're done. In fact, 47% said that knowing before the election that the laptop contents were real and not disinformation would have changed their voting decision, including more than 2/3, 71% of Democrats. Wow! Almost 8 of 10 respondents said that a truthful interpretation of the laptop would likely have changed the election outcome more in favor of Trump. The poll also found that more than half, 51%, give the media failing grades D or F for the coverage of the topic of the laptop. I mean, like F minus. Also, 81% of Americans said that they want the Attorney General to appoint an independent special counsel to investigate possibly incriminating email and other evidence contained on Hunter Biden's laptop. This right here is going to be it's going to be one of the biggest things that bones the Democrats in 2024. If this maintains. If people can still remember this in 2 years, and sad to say, the public has a very short memory. They do. All right. If that's still a thing in 2024 and Republicans really like bang that drum, the amount of people that are going to vote Republican is going to be insane. But not just that. Republicans can then run on the idea of investigating the FBI, the NSA, CIA, all these intelligence investigations or intelligence agencies will be investigated. And there's the amount of stuff that we could uncover and the amount of wrongs we could right would be astronomical. We would, at this point in time, have a House, a Senate, okay, an executive office, and a Supreme Court that leans towards constitutionality. I've been saying for so long that there is so much under the surface that like the whole draining the swamp thing that we could pull out and just expose. Many Democrats, I'm 100% positive, would either be fined for millions of dollars, breaking their financial back, or they would wind up in jail. We would just have to stick to it. There would be no getting away. We would have the tools, if we could continue that reign, to either shut down a lot of these agencies or completely rework them and start them from scratch. At least as best as we possibly could. I'm pretty sure that's easier said than done. But it's just, that right there, with the people backing it, 81%. This is the iron is never going to get hotter than this. And Republicans, if they are worth a damn, will strike it and strike it hard and continue to strike it. If FBI agents were knowingly putting bad information out there, that's election interference, 100%. Former Director of National Intelligence John Ratcliffe told Tucker Carlson, "It's more than time to get a special counsel that is trustworthy on the case because given what we've already seen, we don't know now if they aren't just delaying the Hunter Biden case past the election yet again, just as they allegedly did in 2020. Not to mention that the FBI needs a thorough house cleaning. But the bottom line shows that the public is getting it, and that can't bode well for Democrats in the midterms." Gee willikers. Guys, I the light's been flicked on. The roaches are exposed. They're going to start scattering. We got to round them up. I mean, we see it with our naked eye right now. That the FBI, not just the FBI, all these intelligence agencies are weaponized arms of the Democrat Party. And they need to be dragged out there into the open, investigated, tried, and many of them, I'm sure, need to be jailed. This is banana republic corruption. They got to go. Corruption would continue. Lobbyists need to go. Brandon, the Schweizer book that includes McConnell is called Secret Empires. Secret Empires. Thank you. I'm going to look that up in a little bit. I think it's fair to say McSee benefits financially from trade with China. Going beyond that might be unfair. But the issue with severe conservative is the fact that if you are benefiting financially from China, which, I mean, it's okay to do that, you know, in a fair setting. But when you are that powerful and your wife is attached to that level of influence within the Chinese government, things start to get a little questionable. You might be right, but something tells me that his corruption goes pretty far. The guy has been in office for a long, long, long time. I hope I'm wrong, but I don't see how I am. You can barely hear the video and you were wearing headphones. Oh, my apologies. I'll kick it up next time. RNC is not having any more presidential debates anymore. Forget about getting up there now. %78% of people who have considered making that pie eating contest look different. The pie eating contest, where a lot of questionable things happened, we at least know, well, we can accurately guess that some influence in that pie eating contest happened. Why aren't these people pissed off? Why aren't they pissed off? Because many of them don't know. The mainstream media does its work, guys. They're good at it. They're getting increasingly inconvenienced by people online, live streams. They, like this one, Tim Pool, Jeremy from the Quartering, Nerdrotic, all these people who go out and expose cultural issues. They expose political issues. Like, all of these people go out because the Razor Fist, all these people that go out and they tell you stuff that the mainstream media would rather you not know. And it counters their narrative. And these are just people sitting in their rooms at home making these videos and telling you stuff that they otherwise you might not have heard. This is why they are increasingly getting more popular. And the mainstream media is decreasing in popularity. Because they know it's corrupt, and they know that it's one-sided at this point in time. Someone's got to tell the truth. Start with the FBI. Wouldn't be a bad idea. How do we know for certain that there aren't more people who are angry? Well, clearly there are. Clearly there are. But I mean, do I think that the mainstream culture is still up on it or up on it at all? Probably not. Probably not. They don't know how deep it goes. How could they, though? I mean, their whole entire life revolves around getting up in the morning, getting their kids ready for school. They go to work. They come home. Okay. They might cook dinner for their kids, have some time with their family. All right. And then they might have an hour to themselves before they go to bed. Do you think they're going to spend that hour furiously researching political stuff? No. They're going to watch TV. They're going to play video games. They're going to read a book. They're going to do something that takes their mind off the real world for a minute so that they can go to bed and wake up and do it all over again. That's the majority of America right there. They don't have the time. Or something is infinitely more interesting if they do. Like if you could live a life where your entire life was going out and climbing mountains, would you focus on politics? Probably not. They put a thumb on follower accounts. Why wouldn't they make it harder to find like-minded, annoyed people? Yeah. But never underestimate the power of mob mentality. I'm angry about this, but nobody else is, so maybe I shouldn't be. Noob has a very good point, too. A very good point. You can't always count on an individual to do or say or believe the right thing because they do not want to become a pariah in their own community. Sadly, that is we are a pack animal. We run in packs. And mob mentality is nothing new to us. It almost comes naturally. It all comes down to money. Follow the money. Yep. Daily Wire is big in that pursuit as well. Absolutely. What's up, Badger? Bro, welcome, man. Good to see you. Crowder's back on YouTube again. They could never get rid of Crowder. Do you know how many people watch his live stream? That dude, he beats Dr. Disrespect continually. What is Tim the Tatman? I think Tim the Tatman is live right now. How many people does Tim the Tatman have on? Let's just take a look. Right now, Tim the Tatman has 13,000 people watching. Dr. Disrespect has 25,000 people watching. Crowder typically gets up into the 30s on his live stream. These are two of the biggest names in gaming. And Crowder beats them almost every day. It's insane. Have you watched any of the Daily Wire movies, Brandon? They're really good movies. I have not watched any of them yet. I want to see Terror on the Prairie very soon. I plan on watching that. I also want to watch Run, Hide, Fight, which I have not seen yet. I do want to support them. I want to make sure that's... Because, look, I say this a lot. Like, we need to not just focus on politics. We also have to focus on the culture. That's a big deal. You know, Andrew Breitbart recognized that a long time where politics was downstream of culture. And he was absolutely correct. You know, if we don't make introductions to ourselves on the big screen or the big stage, I should say, as I like to call it, the big stage, you know, we're missing out on some major influence with the people. All right. Jesus, a long time ago, in order to get his point across, he would tell stories. And conservatives, just for the longest time, decided to stop telling stories. Instead, we were focusing on, well, the facts would, you know, help us out. Like, yeah, that's true. But the issue is that if the heart isn't geared toward listening to you, then your facts don't matter. You have to capture this before you can capture this. That's just the sad truth about things, about the human race. All right? Some of you are very geared toward listening to facts and logic and you know, you view the news with a discerning eye and you don't believe everything that you hear automatically, which is good. That's good. But the vast majority of people on this planet don't operate that way. They are more likely to get influenced by a movie that they really liked than some news report that could, you know, be a bombshell about the way their government operates. That's just the way it is. You might not like it, but it's the truth, which is why I've been saying over and over and over and over and over again, whenever we get the chance to comment or learn more about the culture, we should do it. I get this all the time, especially when I write about, like, you know, nerd stuff, movies, video games, anime, like whatever. I'll start talking about it and then, like, guaranteed there's someone in the comments asking me why I'm wasting time talking about this stuff. It's like, no, this is probably more important, actually. This is long game stuff that we're talking about when we talk about the culture. Because, you know, look, we might win a battle politically coming up in midterms, and we could elect a president that really kicks ass, whether it's Trump or DeSantis, whoever. We could do that, but it's just a stopgap measure at that point in time. If you do not encourage the United States to be the United States again through art, which is incredibly important, then it's just going to slide back into Democrat control. Democrats who spend a lot of time and effort influencing the culture. There's a reason that young people typically start out as de facto Democrats. They don't know anything about it. They just know that being a Democrat is cool because all these artists and celebrities and they're all Democrats. So maybe I should be one too because it's the cool thing to do. Politics is downstream of culture. Period. So I try to support the Daily Wire. I do want to. I want to support the Babylon Bee, and I try to get involved myself. I have a Twitch stream, twitch.tv/the Morse Code, where I play video games. Okay, and I talk to chat about non-political stuff. I have gone to, I've taken improv lessons. I try to get involved in the culture. I try to do things instead of just talk politics all the time, because politics is great. It should be discussed, but at the end of the day, it's not going to win you the war. Politics alone is not going to win you the war. Sorry, that was my little rant. I got a little stun locked there for a second. At least 50K. Last time I saw it was like 30. Like I think he peaked at 35K the last stream I watched. But I'm pretty sure on certain days, especially after he does something pretty bombastic that gets into the news, that probably does hit 50K. Have you followed this Markiplier news? Markiplier? Markiplier does news now? Hold up. Okay, so I'm not. I'll have to look into that, but yeah, Markiplier is a news channel. I'd love to see where it goes. I would love to know what he thinks and what he does. But I mean, like, having a news channel is probably not the worst idea. Markiplier is getting up there in age now, His influence as a gamer YouTuber is probably going to start decreasing. He's probably going to have to look for a different way to go about doing things. Tim Pool came out with a new song, #2 on iTunes. I haven't listened to it yet, but I totally want to. Yeah, that's a really good example. I haven't seen it yet, but I actually do want to see it. If Daily Wire could develop video games, I would totally buy them. If they're in a genre I like, anyway. It would have to be good, man. It would have to be good. The one thing that I will say that the right tends to suffer with is story tends to not be as good. They try to stay within the bounds of, like, would the church appreciate this? Like, Betty Ross flag, the U.S. flag, Gadsden flag, all need back in schools, plus teaching American history would help. Well, they allow all the other flags, the LGBT flag, the trans flag, the Black Lives Matter flag. If Daily Wire could develop a video game, I would... Oh, I already read that. Tim Pool is working on a video game? Not surprised. He's also a big gamer. Video games are huge, untapped market for conservatives. Dude, some of the... I wrote this a while back for the Federalist. Some of the most conservative stories right now are going to be seen on video games. True story. He got booted from the YouTube game event? Good God. Oh, no. Oh, it's not Markiplier news. It was just Markiplier in the news. I'm sorry. I'm so stupid. He got booted from the YouTube game event. Why? What happened? They're bigger money makers, cultural influencers than movies. Yeah. Oh, yeah. No, the video game industry is much larger than the movie industry. Not a lot of people know that, but it's true. By billions. Markiplier supported a YouTuber who stood up against YouTube's double standards by making a video called Try Not to Get Age Restricted Challenge. As soon as Mark shared that video, YouTube delisted him from his event. Wow! That's ballsy, YouTube. See, it's stuff like that that's going to make people turn against YouTube. The Daily Wire movies are definitely not like that. Their first movie was about a school shooting, and it's very tense. Yeah, that's why I'm really happy with what they've done. I'm hearing, from critics I trust that these movies still could use a little work in terms of, their action and storylines and some of the acting, but otherwise they're on the right track, and I'm really happy about that. So Daily Wire, if you need an actor, I'm right here. A voice actor, trained voice actor. Just give me a call. Go figure, pointed out a double standard and you get booted. Well, you can't do that nowadays, can you? Conservatives should be jumping on this train. They're affected by it too. Absolutely. Absolutely. Thank you for bringing that to my attention. I'm actually going to look into it, and I'll probably write an article about it later. Speaking of which, Bill Maher levels Rob Reiner with priceless reaction over Hunter Biden laptop conspiracy. Let's jump back into this because I think it's important to talk about. This is from our from Nicarama, who was killing it. Bill Maher called out the conspiracy to suppress the Hunter Biden laptop on his show Friday. Specifically, Maher referenced that liberal podcaster Sam Harris said about the conspiracy. But I think it was warranted, Harris declared. It was more important to defeat Trump, he argued. Hunter Biden literally could have had the corpses of children in his basement. I would not have cared. Bill Maher said some pretty great stuff about it. He has actually been impressing me lately, and I don't know if it's because he's actually having a change of heart or if he's trying to ride a wave, as Crowder has said. We'll see. But he does say stuff that is worth pondering.
They were talking about Hunter Biden's laptop, which was a story, and now all the mainstream press has finally admitted it was a real story. It was a real laptop with... Now, look, let's not pussyfoot around this. He was selling the influence of his father, Joe Biden. I mean, most political sons do. Let's not pretend that at least wasn't going on. I mean, some guy from China gave him, after a dinner, an $80,000 diamond after dinner, as one does.
Yeah.
I have a whole closet.
If you're Naomi Campbell, but it doesn't usually happen. Okay. So Hunter Biden's laptop was buried by the press. Even the head of Twitter, Jack Dorsey, said that was a mistake. They buried the story because they remembered what happened with James Comey and the letter 11 days before the 2016 election. Comey said, we got to reopen this email investigation with Hillary Clinton. And it probably was she ran a horrible campaign, didn't go to Wisconsin, we know all that. But this was probably the last thing that sunk her. So Sam Harris says it was appropriate for Twitter and the heads of big tech and the heads of journalistic organizations to feel that they were in the presence of something that is a once-in-a-lifetime moral emergency, meaning Trump. So he's saying it's okay to have a conspiracy to get rid of somebody as bad as Trump. It's a little bit of a thorny question because once you go down this road, this is sort of where we are in this country. The other side is so evil, anything is justified in preventing them from taking office. Is it?
No. You know what's not justified? Using armed violence to try to kill people in the Capitol. That's...
Bro, I'm so sick and tired of this crap. He completely dodged that question. Dip, dive, dodge, dip, dive. This dude does not... He knows that he was up against a wall there. This is Rob Reiner, by the way, a leftist, if they're a leftist's leftist. He works in Hollywood as a director, and, he has all these insane Bette Midler-esque ideas and impressions about politics. And Bill Maher offers a very real, solid thing to discuss. And it should be discussed. Should the moral question bring about action from a government agency that directly interferes with an election or attacks a certain political party? Is it okay? Well, you know what's not okay? January 6th. What's the point of Rob Reiner at this point? What's the point of people like him? Don't have them. It just they're not willing to discuss anything. They're not willing to talk. Not over. There's a little bit more to it.
So he's saying it's okay to have a conspiracy to get rid of Trump. It's a little bit of a thorny question because once you go down this road, this is sort of where we are in this country. The other side is so evil, anything is justified in preventing them from taking office. Is it?
No. You know what's not justified? Using armed violence to try to kill people in the Capitol. That's not justified.
Answer this question.
Huh?
Answer this question.
What is
was
the
it
question?
appropriate? The question is,
Was
was
the
it
press-
appropriate to bury the Hunter Biden?
You're talking about the press doing that?
He's saying that's what they did, and that is what they did. They buried the Hunter Biden story before the election because they were like, we can't risk having the election thrown to Trump. We'll tell them after the election.
And we know for a fact that that's what they did?
Of course. You
no,
don't
but
follow
I mean,
this.
saying
You
you
gotta-
know for a fact that that's what they did. I don't know what they did.
I know, because you only watch MSNBC.
No, that's not true. That's not true.
Well, then you would know about that.
Bro, he's got
I do
you.
know about that.
He's
I
got
do.
you, bro.
I do know about that, and I do watch Fox. But the point is, we're going to prove now that the press
struggling.
Tried to.
They're admitting it.
The
That's
press
not
is admitting it.
Yes, that's not even an issue anymore. They're saying, yes, we basically did this because we didn't want this to throw the election. Yes?
I don't know that they've all said this, and I believe
Well, the
strongly
New York
in the
Times
First
definitely
Amendment.
did-
My dad was a reporter. I believe in it, and I think you have to make sure that you're treating people fairly. But I think Rob's point here is that we are dealing with a man who used to be the president right now, who literally tried to lead an armed insurrection.
Okay, this is a really solid look. A really solid look into what happens when you actually force a leftist to address very real concerns. Look at the deflection. Look at the struggle to try to deflect. Look at how nervous they look, the stuttering. It's insane to me. Like I'm not surprised, but it really goes to show you how they don't have a response to this. They know it's wrong. They know it's bad. And they know that if anything happens, they'll probably go down for it. This is no good for them, man. They can't answer for it. All we have to do, guys, is keep pushing. We've got them up against the ropes. They don't have the necessary narrative. Unless they are in a vacuum, they do not have the necessary narrative to fight back. They don't have the facts. They know that this is wrong. They know that they look really bad right now. The iron has never been hotter to elect Republicans that actually will go out and mean something. Absolutely 110% should get out there and do something about it. Now is the time. The only person to die was Ashley B, and there were no firearms. Yep. But again, this is proof that they don't even know what they're talking about. They have been told, and just like Bill Maher said, you're only watching, you just watch MSNBC. As far as many people are concerned, just like Rob Reiner, who I don't know if he actually doesn't know, but I mean, many people still think that during the January 6th riot, a bunch of people were killed inside the U.S. Capitol by pro-Trump supporters. That didn't happen. Only one person died, and she was a Trump supporter. She was shot for reasons we're still not really sure of. Four died that day. Ashley, Roseanne, Boylan, 2 men, none by the hands of any January 6ers. Yeah. These people deflect, manipulate, and change the direction of a conversation when it's not going the direction they want. When they have to tell the truth. He is such a liar. Yes, he's a huge liar. That burn. So tired of Hollywood telling us what to think. Amen. Anything but the truth. Can't say that. It doesn't surprise me. It just makes me punch a hole in the wall mad because this kind of lunacy is spreading. They will not talk about it very seriously. They will deflect and try to make it seem like Republicans and Trump are actually that evil. And you could see, like, it was almost like he was trying to reject the truth as Bill Maher was saying it. Like, this is proven. This is the press is saying this, and they're like, they don't want to talk about it. It does boggle the mind. They don't seem to know what armed insurrection. Yeah. No one had any guns. Doesn't matter. It does not matter. They don't care. As far as they're concerned, they went in with RPGs, M4s, clips that shoot 1,000 rounds from their AR-15 style assault war weapons. Sent you a detail of the events that Markiplier. Thank you so much. I'm gonna have to write on this. Trust me, Dark, they have no idea what a real armed insurrection would be. They would run from the hills. That one thing, I even wrote this at the time, and I said, I was like, if that was an actual insurrection, first off, there would have been a lot more blood, a lot more gunfire, because a lot more weapons would have been involved. Also, there would have been a stated purpose from the opposition. There would be reason, which there was none of those. It was a bunch of people who got into the Capitol, some via broken windows, some invited in through the door by campus officers. Okay? And they were walking into these offices in order to do it for the gram. This whole entire thing was an excuse for the Democrats to try to have a way to make their opponents look dangerous and out of control. But the more that comes out about it, the less it seems like that's the case. And on top of that, the more we see obvious corruption from the Democrats, the more we understand that the real party who is dangerous is them. But you have people who really don't want to admit it. Just as you saw. Don't forget with bullets that blow a lung out. They all had ICBMs. Anyone that says Jan 6 was an insurrection, I put them straight real quick. Yeah, it was not an insurrection. That was not an insurrection. That's so dumb that there are some times when I think that the Democrat Party understands the level of stupidity of the mainstream media and the mainstream culture. That most of the population is just watching the news on and off, and they manipulate that ignorance into making people believe that an insurrection, that January 6th really was an attempted coup by the Trump administration or Donald Trump himself to take the government and rule as a dictator forever. And as you just saw, many people, I mean, the fact that Rob Reiner believes that wholeheartedly, at least seemingly he does. And then you have Amy Klobuchar. Y'all, the fact that Amy Klobuchar was sitting right next to him, and she knows full well she was just kind of like, yeah, but, he's right. They're liars, man. They're absolute liars. And all this time, Trump had the nuclear codes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I just won't stand for the lies on that one. Don't care who you are. I have facts. Yeah. Dude, when Bill Maher is calling you out and like, guys, come on, let's talk seriously. Where was I wish there was a conservative on that panel. When we practice whataboutism, we get mocked. When we bring up something provably, demonstrably true, they use whataboutism. Yep, absolutely. I still agree with AOC. The Capitol Police need to be investigated. I agree with that too, actually. I really do. I bet, here's the thing. I bet some of them didn't even know what was going on that day. I bet they didn't. I bet some of them were kept in complete ignorance. We'll see. And AOC asked who opened the lock and locked the doors. Yeah. I'm pretty sure that she asked those questions well before there was a meeting. 100%. All right, guys. That's enough for me today. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Just a heads up, there will be no Friday stream. I'm going on vacation. I'm taking a vacation. It's going to be nice. I'm going to get away for a little bit, reset. Okay? Thank you guys so much for showing up. Seriously, love you guys to death. Chat, you have made this stream grow, this channel grow. It's continuing to grow. Let's grow it more. Let's keep growing it. Keep an eye out for the some RSL highlights that are coming out possibly today or tomorrow. Follow me at the Brandon Morse on Twitter. Follow me at the Brandon Morse Live on Instagram. If you want to hang out without video, or political chat, go to twitch.tv/the Morse Code. In the meantime, guys, sign up for the VIP program. Use promo code Morse on sign up. MORSC gets you a discount. It's nice. It's great. Some stuff is going to be appearing today on the VIP side. So, from your boy. So, check it out. In the meantime, guys, take it easy. I will see you guys on Wednesday. Much love. Peace.